I wish you peace. I wish you joy. I wish you love, 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 love. I wish you faith in yourself to reveal all that you've come here to do. Love is my choice. Love is my decision. Love is my voice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in the green room with my friend Jami Lula. We were listening to a little bit of his new album, the Orange album. That's what it's called, right?
Yes.
And I immediately put up your, oh, wait a minute. I got to edit this because I forgot to put the dot for .com. So I'm going to edit this. I'm real professional here. What I really need is a assistant to do this for me while I'm trying to do these interviews.
Exactly.
But they would have to do it for free.
They'd have to do it for free, and they'd have to do it remote.
Maybe I could get my daughter to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do it though, because I'd always try to get her on camera, and she's like, "No."
She doesn't have to do it on camera. It's like, do you want to eat tonight, honey? I'm teasing.
All right. Okay. So let me just make sure we are public, though. No matter what I've done, whoever watch, oh, there we go. When people watch back, they will see this. But we're now live. Okay. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, now that I know we're live in the green room with Jami Lula. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
So what I was saying to you just a minute ago was the first time I had you on, my voice was garbled, and we had this great conversation. And I watched it back, and I felt bad because I'm supposed to be an audio guy, and yet my mic was sounding awful. And then the other thing that I've discussed with you too, and everybody that I have on, is the music performances don't work well on this platform, so it ends up being just a better conversation piece. And I've noticed. I've watched a couple of your live streams. What are you doing with you? Are you doing concerts? Are you taking requests? How are you doing your live stream?
I've been doing Facebook Live. I actually have a good friend of mine, David Pachter, in New York City, and he's part of he works with this company called You Now, which is another streaming platform. Mm-hmm. And I love David, but the only thing about the You Now is that you can't go back and watch, if you don't get there live, you don't get it, Ooh. And so I've been doing Facebook Live. I've been doing a lot of meetings on Zoom. Mm-hmm. StreamYard, I think, was the other platform that but anyways, I've been doing the Facebook Live. My wife and I have been doing a Facebook Live Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning at 10 a.m. doing a meditation, and I've been doing music. So it's been really great. And that, people keep sharing that. But a lot of what I've been doing is because I'm looking at like Daniel Nahmad's doing a concert. He's been doing it for 120 nights now. Not really, but he's been doing it. He did like 12 nights in a row, and then he took a few days off, and then he came back, and he's doing what he's calling season 2. And I think he's like on night 22 or 23 of doing these concerts. I've been writing. My songwriting partner, Gary Lynn Floyd, and we finished another song today. It's like our 5th song in the last month that because we decided a couple of weeks ago, let's get together at 1:00 Monday through Friday. And some days, it doesn't work out or something, but we've gotten together we got together. Is today Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah. We got together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we wrote 2 songs this week. So, I mean, it's been really, and I spent so much time on that song last night too. We started something. I'm like, no, there's a chorus, there's a chorus, there's a chorus here. And so I was up until midnight recording a vocal and a guitar track to send to him. So it turned out.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that we are in this because I was up till 3 last night trying some different techniques on recording, on gain structure and everything to try to get audio to come through this platform easier. And I'm looking online, and next thing I know, it's 3 o'clock, it's 4 o'clock, and then I sleep till 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And what I'm noticing is, for a while, these last 10 years or 15 or whatever, Sundays are sort of the slower day. It's a Sunday because it's slower, but right now it's starting to feel like, if I remember back when I was a kid growing up in Nebraska, everything closed at 5 or 6.
Mhm.
Everything was not open for a short period of time on Saturdays, completely closed on Sundays. The only time things were open at night would be maybe Thursday night till 9.
Wow.
And so everything was just a slower pace. And what I'm if I'm not mistaken, what I was hearing you say and how everything sort of feels right now, feels like every day is sort of a Christmas day, a holiday. And in Burbank, all the stores close early. Everything's closed at 9, and except for 7-Elevens.
Yeah.
And so you can't go out at midnight, and it's just a slower pace and a slower time. And since there's no regularity of working, I feel a little off every day when I get up because, well, what's my routine? It's not normal. And we were talking a little bit about that uh, a minute ago before we went live with your wife. uh, there's this whole kind of thing happening that's kind of a weight that we're feeling that just also makes it feel unsettled. So um, it just me generally speaking, I don't know, there's no point to this. It's just that the whole thing feels discombobulated. Next thing you know, you're up till 3 or 4 writing the song, and you're like, what, where where am I?
Well, the interesting thing is I got to bed after midnight. Um, and there's very few days that I'm sleeping past 7. I was awake just past 5 this morning. Now I didn't get up. I didn't get up until about 6:15. Um, but then I get the day ready. I see the routine because William, who's a junior in high school, is still in high school, and he had to be ready at 8 o'clock. And then I do a 12-step meeting. I have a 12-step meeting. We do a Zoom meeting at 7:30 a.m. And so I'm up and I make celery juice for my wife because she's been drinking celery juice. It's a Anthony William medical medium thing. It's about cleaning the heavy metals out of your system to
Hmm.
drink a nice glass of celery juice in the morning, and then I make her a latte, which she drinks 20 minutes later, and then I go do my meeting, and then I'm like, oh, William, I forgot to make your oatmeal this morning, but he had to be at school at 8, at his computer at 8.
Hmm.
Um, and so, I mean, it's like I do have a bit of a routine, but it's interesting because I'm staying up later than I normally do because I'm normally in bed 10:30. I'm not the typical musician
Hmm.
because I'm normally up before 5 o'clock, when we're normally doing things.
Hmm.
But I've been getting up basically between 5:30 and 6:30,
Yeah.
even through this.
So, you've had a really active part in a lot of churches around the country, and
Mhm.
helping people uh, spiritually connecting, uplifting them with songs, and just communicating. Um, and we talked a little bit before the last time you were on about that and how this is all affecting that. But things have changed even in the last 2 weeks. So
Yes.
how is all of that affecting you? And do you find when you do your live stream, are people people from all of those communities starting to tune into you now and check you out and um, find you. Are they looking for you now?
I think so. Over the last couple of weeks since last we spoke, um, I've done the last 2 weekends. I've done Sunday services, uh, Zoom, and then the StreamYard that I spoke of. I did the weekend before last for Inner Light Ministries, Deborah Johnson's church up in SoCal near Santa Cruz. And then this last weekend, I was with Doug LeBeau, and we did a Skype session for Easter Sunday. And then in the afternoon on Sunday, I did a short 10-minute Instagram live with Reverend Karen Frost, who just doing a platform. This Sunday at 7 a.m., I'm doing a Unity of Naples. I'm doing music for them. My friend Mark Anthony Lord, who I've known since 1979. We did Jesus Christ Superstar together. It's a long story, but so I'm doing music with him for his service on Sunday at 7, and then I'm driving out to out to James Mellon's church, the Global Truth Center. I think I have to be out there like 9:30, and there's only 6 people in the sanctuary, and doing a service there.
And so when you get there and they're in the sanctuary and then you live stream from there,
Yeah,
similar to what you do at Agape when you
exactly.
where there's a crew that shows up and then they live stream.
Yeah.
Now I know Agape has a pretty wide audience and that sort of thing, but I'm wondering how this is changing the dynamics of how we go to church and those people that go to those churches and watch do you find that they're trying to look for you or search for you on like through the internet or say, hey, I saw you on this church at this church service and reaching out to you that way?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely people that are doing that. The concert that I did last Saturday, the Cozy Couch concert that I did, I think there were a lot of people that had seen me on various things that I had mentioned, and they ended up showing up. I know that I could be a lot better at the marketing and I'm not, I know something like Karen Drucker, like I love Karen Drucker, man. She puts out an email every month and she's really great at promoting herself. And it's like, I have not been very eloquent about that aspect. Writing, performing, it's like I've been doing very well at that, but not the promotion end of it and getting it out there in a way that is effective. I'm still holding that there's someone out there that will love what I do to help me with that. Mm-hmm. My wife, you spoke to her before we went on. She's got a woman in the Philippines that she works with, and a woman in Australia that she works with, and now there's a woman here in Orange County that wants to help her out. So she's got a few people that are helping her. One person does website and then takes and transforms all these morning meditations and stuff and promotes them and puts them up on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and whatever else she does. So she's kind of created a machine, and she's paying these people to do this, which is great. But she does a lot of webinars and so I'm also trying to figure out other ways to aside from live concerts. I'd actually put out on Facebook a while ago that I wanted to, because everybody's doing these concerts, which is fabulous, but I'm like, okay, contact me, private message me on Facebook, and let's hook up a time, and you just say what's going on, and I'm going to sing a prayer for you or sing a song for you, 10 minutes. Let me know what's going on. I'll sing for you. I'd like kind of, because I sing my prayers and stuff, but it's like taking and singing a song. A lot of times, just that one-on-one, I think, can be a really healing salve. And just as a concert can be, but I just had this idea to do something one-on-one with people. And I wasn't saying, hey, it's going to cost this or anything like that. It's like, if people want to donate, great. But if not, I just wanted to be of service like that in the healing way that I can.
You know, just listening to you talk, several things come up for me. Number one,
Shut up, you're talking too much. No.
No, well, you see, when I'm having an interview with somebody, the fact that they talk and have a story and something to say actually makes it easy for me to do this.
Yeah.
Because, because nobody really wants to listen to me talk for an hour. But as a musician and a healer, and from the spiritual aspect of this, we're all trying to struggle with an idea of how we're going to monetize this. And from a spiritual aspect, uh, I've always sort of wondered, how do I really monetize this? And I'm actually trying to help people, yet I do need to make money, right?
Right.
And so I think sometimes there's a little bit of hesitancy when you want to help people and you want to put that out there, but at the same time, you do need to monetize. And when you were saying, I haven't really done what Karen does, you kind of need to do that somehow because
Right.
that's your living.
Right.
And then the other thing is the one-on-one spiritual aspect of it is, I really would like to do that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I've found that the one-on-one like you and I are having right now is really valuable. And I almost wish I could do this with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, there's no monetizing of it. It's just something that I want to do.
Right.
So the one thing that I can do is
Mm-hmm.
can have somebody like yourself come on if people start watching.
Right.
Go, oh, well, I really like that guy Jamie, and like yesterday, I really like that guy David,
Mm-hmm.
and then tune into you and your own live streams, and when you do your concert and actually have a donate button.
Right. Right.
Right. What would be an example? And I don't know if I really touched on anything you just said, but those are just thoughts that kind of came up.
Well, can I say something?
Yeah.
Because what comes forward to me in that context, what I heard, and maybe it's just my perception, in the first part of what you were saying, was the idea of, there's my boy. My son just walked in. The idea that if you're working with people and you're wanting to be of assistance and it's spiritual, there's a lot of people think that, like, well, you shouldn't make money doing that. And it's like, that's a lack and limitation kind of idea that's going on. And it's like, it's like standing. It's like the one thing I love about Daniel Nahmod. Daniel Nahmod came to my songwriting class when I was teaching at MI years ago. And he said, I'm not a starving artist. I don't believe in starving artists. I believe that I'm a prosperous artist, and that when people get done hearing me in a show, they've paid, and then they remunerate me for my music, because they're going to take that CD home and they're going to listen to it for years, and they're going to be uplifted, and their vibration is going to be. And he just laid it out there in a really beautiful way, where it's like, it started because I was kind of like afraid to talk about, buy my CDs. It's like, no, you need to buy it. You need to take it home. You need to go on and not just download it from someone else. You need to pay for it, because, like, the whole context of everything, the song that I just performed, or whatever the concert that I just did, isn't just a 60-minute period of time. It's almost 60 years. It's like at least almost close to 50 years of working on craft to get to this point, to be able to articulate it. And it's like the hours of schooling and practice and rehearsal and writing and rewrite. It's like it's paying for that. It's kind of like, getting the blue M&Ms out of your M&Ms backstage or something. But it's like people get it's like, an artist's life necessarily as far as success, it's like a baseball player. What's the
Right.
average? 2-3 years that you're gonna have. It's like a 20-year career is like huge. What this Rolling Stones has done is like impossible. What U2 has done is impossible. It's like a lot of Paul McCartney. It's like impossible, for the average artist to last as long. And the same thing in the context of spirituality. There's when someone's coming to you and being of service in that way, praying with you, holding the consciousness, as a practitioner or a minister, or however you, whatever you believe in. It's like people have spent a long time to develop that kind of continence and countenance and consciousness to be able to share with you, to help you change your mind, to up level your vibration, to live a more actualized life, a more inspired life. And it's like people deserve to be remunerated for that, because there's a healing quality to that. It's not, you're not just taking a pill, you're changing your mind.
Yeah.
Because a pill's never going to change your mind. It'll change the way you feel, but not your mind. Because
Yeah.
you're sober how long?
I'm in
37 years?
f- how long I've been sober?
Yeah.
42 years.
Get the hell out of here. You kidding? 42, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. I'm 26, so
What,
I'm a little bit behind you.
once you get past the 10-year mark, it's downhill from there.
I know. I know. I know.
So you actually touched on a couple of things, and sort of what you expanded on what I was getting at, and didn't want to
Yeah.
just come. I was not really coming right out and saying there's this idea, first of all, that music shouldn't have to be paid for.
There's two generations now
Right,
that think it falls out of the sky.
right. We just download it for free. I mean,
Yeah.
and then the other idea that because you're a spiritual person and that you're practicing, praying and stuff, that is also something we get for free because we go to church,
Right.
right? So the idea
Not
that
if you're a Jew. If you're a Jew, you pay to get in your temple. You don't. They don't pass the basket. It's like boom. This is the deal. This is what it costs. You want to sit in the front row? This is what it costs. You want to sit in the middle? It's like it's just there. This is the community. This is what it costs. This is how you value it.
right.
You know.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I only started getting a hint of what Judaism, or if I said that even right,
Yeah.
what their faith is, by doing sound for a couple of Jewish band leaders.
Yeah.
And I learned some of the things, but I didn't really know the whole practice. The thing about not the first time I played I did sound for an Orthodox wedding, and I didn't get this, and you might be able to appreciate this, where all the men are on one side and the women are on the other side. And the band leader comes up and he said, there's a lady over there that complained about the volume. Would you go over and ask her how the volume is? So me not knowing anything about the customs and things, she was standing and talking to somebody, and I walked up and put my hand on her shoulder. The bander's no, don't touch her. Don't. The look, the minute I put my hand on her shoulder to ask her how the sound was, it's
There
like
was an
it's like
audible gasp.
it was like, oh, the whole room stopped. It's like, no, he didn't just touch her. And
He's a goy.
uh but the idea that church is free, and we go and we get this thing. So if you pray for me, that should be free. If you help, um I I've started, for example, I've decided to, well, I can't get massages now, but one part of my health, I found this great little massage place down the street where, the little Chinese places, the foot rub, and if you find the right one that actually that actually is good,
Mhm.
$40 for an hour. So once every couple of weeks, I'll go and get a massage, and she will work my back and get in with her elbow, and it was great. And that's part of staying physically fit for me. It's
Yeah.
actually helped me. and exercising, praying, and praying with somebody
Yes.
has been helpful to me, and having somebody that actually has some experience at it, that has studied like in science of mind and that new thought, where you actually have to have training to
Yes.
be able to pray with people and be a practitioner, and the thought that it if you go to church it's freely given, but then there are those that it's almost like paying to see like a therapist, that you go and you pay them and they'll sit and work with you. And for a long time, even in sobriety, working, where you have a sponsor and you talk to them for free,
Yes.
um, it just brings back this whole idea that well, we should be able to have access to all this free stuff, and then you start thinking, well, how those people make their money.
Right.
Um, so there's got to be a way to monetize all of it, and the years of training, for example, to be a practitioner. I know I'm just kind of rambling here, but I'm just thinking out loud.
Right.
Um, uh, because it took me a minute to get used to that when I first went to church, right? And
But
found.
once again, though, going back to the idea, my wife was raised Jewish.
Mm,
And it's like she said, they didn't pass the basket. You paid to be part of a temple, part of a synagogue. That was the deal. They never passed the basket there. It's like that because there's a consciousness of a specific value that people put on being able to be part of that spiritual community, that consciousness, and it's a different consciousness. I mean, there's a consciousness of prosperity in the vast majority of people of Jewish heritage and whatnot for a reason. They value things, they hold things in a high esteem, and being able to go and commune within the community and with a power greater than themselves. It's like they value it, so it's like it doesn't just, they pay attention to those things in ways that Christian New Thought, especially, it's like we talk about, to be honest with you, I mean, I don't mean to diminish it, but it's like we talk about the infinite supply and there is no lack and limitation, in New Thought. But, it's like some of the stingiest, people that have some work to do surrounding prosperity and abundance and opulence and receptivity. And I'm one of them. I'm definitely one of them. But it's like our accountant years ago, we went in to do our taxes and talked to him. So it's like, wow, you guys have like really given a lot to charity. It's like, well, it's just part of what we do. Yeah, we're not at that point. We weren't making a lot of money, but it's like, you know what, 10 to 20%. It's like, we tithe. I tithe. My wife tithes. I mean, she just gave a really nice tithe to Agape on Sunday, but it's like, it's a consciousness that we have to change our mind surrounding it, to that of prosperity and valuing. It's like valuing music. It's like we're going on a couple generations now of kids that literally think that music falls out of the sky. And my wife's daughter talked about how she had like 50,000 songs or something that she had downloaded in her catalog. It's like, and she hadn't paid for any music. And I'm like horrified. I spent years going into record stores and looking and buying albums and stuff. And, one or two cuts was good on it. Now at least we can listen to stuff, but, I buy music, I pay for music. Whether I see an artist that I like and I appreciate and I want to acknowledge them and I want to give back and I want to take them home in some way, shape, or form.
right.
It's changing our consciousness about it and valuing it, valuing the art, valuing the photography, valuing the prayers. It's like, what do we value? I mean, Starbucks, look at Starbucks.
Mm.
You know, how many people go out and spend, you know, aside from right now,
Right.
but will go and spend, you know, 10, 20 bucks a week on Starbucks, and it's fucking gone in 15 minutes. Excuse my French.
Right.
But they can take music home with them that will last their lifetime, that will uplift and inspire them and open their hearts and their mind and consciousness. And it's like they don't want to pay for it.
You know, it's interesting. There seems to be this whole creative nature. You know, spirituality is creative. You know,
Yeah.
and art is creative, photography is creative, music is creative, and all of it is part of a health that we need. It's a soul and spiritual health. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. You know,
Yeah.
whether I'm right or wrong, it's just what's coming to my mind. And yet those things that keep us the health, you know, massage, I mean, all of this stuff is part of a physical, and even go and seeing a doctor, you
Yeah.
know, in some ways there are certain aspects of all of that. This is all part of being healthy. But the interesting thing is the creative artist part of all of that is something that everybody thinks that should be just given to them.
Well, it's the way it's viewed a lot of times. It's like, oh, well, that's just something that's like a hobby.
Mm.
It's like I spent, and I'm not patting myself on the back, because quite honestly, there's a lot of times I have not spent the time. But you know, we've been writing songs, and yesterday we did our 1 o'clock writing session. We basically 1 to 2. We do an hour a day. But then I guarantee you that I spent another 8 hours plus until I went to bed after midnight, working on that song, reworking it, the lyric, the melody. I'm looking for a chorus. I'm looking for a chorus. And it's like I found it. It wasn't something that just like, you know, I mean, and like most songwriters, most musicians will tell you, it's like you don't just get up and play the drums without the hours of paradiddles or the hours of scales. I mean, I don't do scales, but I play chords and I work. I actually played djembe on the recording last night. I'm like, damn, keeping that rhythm, just keeping that pulse. It's like, just, you know, I mean, it's no small feat.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work, but and because you do something that you love, it's like you're playing. It's like, well, you got the choice to do something that you love too. You know, this is what I've chosen to do, and I love it, and I'm grateful for it, and I know that it serves.
Yeah. You know, here's what's this just popped into mind too. Now, what we're talking about in terms of being an artist and musician, and oh, it's just a hobby. You don't really make money at it, and it's the last thing people want to pay for. Um, During this COVID coronavirus crisis, we were the first people to lose our gigs.
Yeah.
The first people cut out. We'll be the last people hired, and we're the last people to even be thought about as somebody who's getting relief. Now, I looked at a chart of where the funds were going, and there was restaurant workers, entertainment, including movies and you know, venues. Not one little category was for gigging musicians.
Yeah.
Those kinds of people. There's no self-employed musician fund going anywhere.
Right.
Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, fill out this, fill out that." No, I haven't seen anything yet. Um, they say I did just see something. Governor Newsom said in 2 weeks the unemployment insurance is going to be available to sole proprietors or 1099 contract labor. So, but that's 2 weeks from now.
Yeah.
And uh, so anyway, that's a whole aspect of another part of how we're not even thought of as something that's a value commodity, and we're the thing that people right now want to hear a song that makes them feel good.
Right. Yeah, you go on Facebook, and there's on a daily basis for the last 3 weeks plus. You know, you can go on at any time of the day, and someone's doing some music.
Right.
You know, whether they're great or not. I mean, there's actually a lot of great people. I actually listened to a whole interview of Elvis Costello yesterday. People asking him questions, and then he closed with um, Da 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 da. The best things in life are free, da, 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 but you can give it to the bad birds and bees. I need money. We need money. It was for the healthcare NHS in the UK,
Yeah.
and he's up in on Vancouver Island staying right now. He's in lockdown up there, but it was fascinating. But there's a lot of, Springsteen's doing a concert tonight
Hmm.
from his home.
Right.
So many artists, you know.
And those guys may not get paid for it, but they may get paid for it because there are going to be people going to want to advertise with those. Do you think with
You
those
know, I
people?
don't, I don't think that Springsteen's doing it. He doesn't. It's like, you know what? My perception, definitely, of Springsteen
Mhm.
is he wants to serve.
Yeah.
He wants to serve. He's got more money than God, for God's sakes. I mean, he's just done so much over the whole Broadway thing he did, and everything's done. I'm a big fan. I have been for years, but it's like, as a human being, I read his biography. It's like, as a human being, it's like, the dude's pretty down, and it's like he wants to give back. He wants to leave the place better than he found it. He wants to be of service. I don't, he's not sober. Not that he needs to, because he doesn't have that thing, I don't think, but he has this desire to be of service to the global community,
Hmm.
all the time. It's like, when something happens, how many concerts, how many things have happened over the last 40 years? Something happens, and Springsteen's there as part of that whole group of artists that's there to make music and to raise the vibration.
Always. He actually always has been.
Yeah, exactly.
And even Bono has, in a
Yeah,
way.
exactly. With the whole Red movement. I love you too. I love what Bono's done, and U2's done. I really appreciate those artists that do. And there's a lot of artists. That's what I'm saying on Facebook. Yes, there's a thing, you can go to PayPal if you want to donate a few, and people donated a lot for my concert. In fact, one of the things I need to do is go back through and thank all those people for their generosity. But really, by and large, it's like, let me serve, because um, I want to raise the vibration. I want to make people feel better. I want to let them know, I honestly believe we're getting through this, no matter how challenging it is for you. It's like, we're going to get through this. We're going to lift each other up. We're going to help each other out. I think that's going to come out of this whole pandemic, that more people it's like, how can I help you? You're having a hard time. You need groceries. You need food, you know?
Yeah. And, that's happened for me. Um, uh, and I've shared this with a few other people too. And I may have already even said this to you, but Susie was saying about, her having a meltdown. That's happened to me twice,
Yeah.
and it's been around paying my rent. And I had to call a friend and ask to borrow money to pay for rent. And what it did to me physically and emotionally, because I've never had, with my self-worth, and I just had this whole crash, and all of a sudden an awareness of the people that actually live like this all of their lives,
Yeah.
worried about paying. And now here I am experiencing what that's like to potentially lose my home because I have no money,
Right.
feeling the weight of that. I it was overwhelming, and at the same time, uh, helped me become aware of those that actually are less fortunate and don't even have access to a friend to call
Right.
to help out. And
Right.
so there are people wanting to help, and
Right.
the friend I called was happy to help me.
Right.
Um, but it put me in an odd place, and
Yeah.
the feeling of it was, I can't imagine somebody that lives their life having to worry about whether they're going to have enough to pay the rent, feed the kids, put clothes on their back, just those basic day-to-day functions. And I think there's hundreds, if not thousands, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people in this country that are going through that, and even at a higher level now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Well, that was the other thing that comes forward, is because they've been saying that the homeless population in LA, it's like the virus is going through there like wildfire. So you've got all these homeless people who have a tent, you know,
right.
I mean, it's like, talk about, it's like, and we got more homeless than a greater majority of the country here in Southern California, because of the weather. I mean, it's pretty stunning out right now. And the fact that we haven't had so many cars on the road, it's like the skies are amazingly blue and the hills are amazingly green because of the rain. It's like, it's just stunning. I don't think that a lot of people have ever seen LA like this.
No, and not to change the subject because I want to stay focused on this,
Yeah.
but there was even an article about the people in that could see the Himalayas for the first time in 20 years because the air is so clean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely a reset. But the homeless population is on the verge of booming
Yeah.
if something doesn't happen to protect those of us who have lost our incomes.
Right.
Um, Now, and this kind of bringing me back around to the topic of this conversation, which is spirituality and giving and money and the stress of not having money and all that. And the two of you, we were talking just before we went live with you and Susie. Um, the feeling as a spiritual mentor and teacher and having a lot of people come to you for help and assistance and praying and songs and all that sort of stuff, the both of you, um we you can get a sense of the struggles people are having and you want to help them, but as uh, a practitioner or somebody wants to give, the feeling the weight of that can be enormous.
Yeah.
And what and that you I, what have you and her done, Susie, done to kind of decompress and keep yourself stable so you can keep giving like you do with your sing a song and prayer thing?
Um, I definitely. Well, I didn't work out for about a week because I got sick last week.
Mm.
But I'm fine. There was no. I didn't have the virus or anything like that. I had a stomach flu. But working out, riding the Peloton. Susie's been walking around the park. I need to get her to just at least put a bandana on because she hasn't done that. But she hasn't really come in contact with that many people. Exercising definitely makes a big difference. Prayer, meditation. The fact that she's been doing so much. I mean, when we think of the healthcare workers out in the world that are doing this, that are one-on-one, I mean, it's pretty deep. My friend Dave Zaboski just posted a great little cartoon that he had drawn. He's to honor the healthcare workers. He's a brilliant artist. He's on Facebook. Zaboski, Dave Zaboski. Fabulous. But those people that are on the front lines with people that are ill, that's one thing. But what Susie's doing, she's dealing with people from a distance. Obviously, she's doing it online. She's doing either Zoom or she's doing FaceTime or on the phone. But like energetically, like because of what everybody's dealing with, that it's like a lot of people are coming to her from a real low vibratory place. And her intention is to raise and help assist them to elevate their vibration of consciousness, to deal with those things that are coming forward. And it's like, it's kind of weighing on her, understandably. So working out, and it's like, I cook for her. She's been a vegan for a while now. So I'm doing vegan for her and then cooking whatever for my son. I'm eating healthy, exercise, tremendous amount of prayer and meditation, just getting still, getting still and going within. And because we've never experienced this before in our life, a lot is coming up for people that has either been dormant or because we've been so busy that we can just ignore it. But now we're like, it's there and it's coming up and it's kind of driving people nuts. So it's like doing all these things to take and be with ourselves, to not judge it, to not be upset because, well, I'm getting angry or I'm getting short with my wife. It's like, well, what's going on beneath that? I heard David kind of break things down for you yesterday. Well, if this happens, then what? And what if this happens? And how much of this is true? How much of it am I making up? How much of the story am I building and telling myself? And listen, but right now, that's not the truth of what's going on. It's really having the time and the opportunity to really look at what we believe and the truths or the stories that we're creating or the truths that we know to be true. God is an infinite source and supply for me. Do I really believe that, or are those just words flying out of my mouth? Can I really stand to that? My neighbor's asking if her kids can come and jump on the trampoline.
Well, I'm just going to say you mentioned prayer meditation, and it's prayer meditation is talked about a lot at Agape. And Reverend Michael, one time when I was just talking to him, he goes, everything we do hinges on meditation, right? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, well, are you meditating?
Yeah.
And then even in the 12-step programs, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God.
Yes.
And yet it seems to be one of the things that we're really hesitant to talk about in public, or it's not a normal, oh, how you doing? How's your job? Prayer meditation should be first and foremost in our minds, especially today in everybody, I think. And it's talked about the least. I think it's scary for some people to even talk about it.
Yeah. Prayer and meditation I woke up this morning because in religious science, which Agape is based out of, the teachings of Ernest Holmes. Ernest Holmes basically took and distilled all the world traditions. He created a modality of prayer called spiritual mind treatment, which is essentially affirmative prayer. So you're not praying to something, you're praying from, because we believe that the infinite presence of God, the infinite love, Buddha, the universe is within each one of us. So we're affirmatively praying, knowing the truth about our lives. And sometimes it takes minutes, sometimes it takes hours to change my mind about what I'm believing about myself or my situation. But it's a 5-step prayer. Agape does a 6-step prayer because they do a gratitude and then acknowledgement, blah, blah, blah. But and meditation, meditation is not easy for me because it's like I'm like squirrel, I'm so ADD and distracted. But I just keep going there every day, sometimes more than once, twice, 3 times, if I need to do it. I when I was studying at Agape, when we were still over on Olympic in Santa Monica before we even moved to Culver City, when I was taking classes there, I would set my watch to beep every hour on the hour. And I should probably go back to doing this. And at the hour, I would just stop. And I would inhale. And I would exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And I would just focus on my breath, even for like 3 breaths. It would just bring me back. It's like, okay, everything slowed down. My heart rate slowed down. My blood pressure went down. Whatever was going on became unimportant. And I would just get still. I would just stop. Sometimes I would do a prayer. Sometimes I would just get still with the breath. It works.
Yeah.
It works unequivocally. I think any prayer is going to work for anybody, whatever your form of prayer. that you choose. I love what I learned through agape, basically the 5-step affirmative prayer, because I can change my mind and my thinking and my perception of what the world looks like, or how I'm perceiving it, how I'm seeing it, how I'm seeing myself, how I'm seeing the world, how I'm responding to it, or how it's responding to me. I can change my mind. And I'll tell you, one of the first times I do what I call praying for miles. And the first time I experienced it, maybe the first time I met you, and it was on the way up to Asilomar. It was the first time I was going to work with Karen and David and that music team with Jack Fowler and Donna Michael and Daniel Nemad, Karen Drucker and David Alt. And on the way up there, it's like, I don't know anybody, and they're not going to know me, and they're not going to like me, and all that shit that goes on. And I began doing a 5-step, spiritual mind treatment, changing my mind. And I prayed for a while. And then all of a sudden it was like, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to be loved and I'm going to make some great friends. I mean, look at the relationship we've had over the last 20 years.
Right.
It's like I have such a great respect and love and adoration and admiration for you. And it's like I went up there, and David Alt is one of my favorite people on the planet, as well as Karen Drucker. I never see Jack or Donna or Daniel, but it's like I love them. I have such respect for them, and I made really good friends because I changed my mind on the way up there through my prayer. I changed the way I was saying it. I affirmed something different. I positively affirmed that I was going to go up there and make great friends and make great music and be prosperous and have a great time. And that's what happened. Now, if I would have stayed in, they're not going to like me, because that's a prayer too. The negative thinking is a prayer too. Your mind only knows, it's like if you're telling it, whatever you're telling it, it's going to create. So I had to change my mind. If I would have stayed in that, oh man, it's going to be hard. I'm not going to know anybody. I'm not going to fit in, blah, blah, blah. And so it is. I would have created that, but I didn't. I created something different. And I have to constantly remind myself, oh, y'all better get prayed up right now. I mean, it's the truth. Right. Change my mind, change my thoughts, change my life. Wayne Dyer. So many spiritual teachers out in the world that are it's practical spirituality. It's not praying and begging and beseeching something out there to save me. It's going within and recognizing that infinite presence of love of God, however you want to call it Jesus, you want to call it Buddha, you want to call it the Atman presence, the universe, Yogi love, whatever you want to call it, or Yogi Bear, for God's sakes. Change your mind, change your thoughts, change your mind, and whatever you're thinking and whatever you're holding becomes a prayer. So change. What do you want to live? Hold that, claim that, dwell in that.
And it made me think about where were my thoughts today.
Yeah.
And I have to, on a daily basis, combat my negative thinking. I have a default thought process that always wants to drop into the what ifs, the negative,
worst case scenario.
Yeah. And I have to these days especially, I have to fight it every day because I'm by myself or with my daughter, and the only communication I have with people to remind me of that is what I'm doing here with you and David and this sort of thing. But it's something that I think a lot of people are faced with right now, more than ever. And probably that's the reset that the world needs. It needs people to bring this more in the forefront of their mind, that maybe there's something to changing the way I'm thinking and viewing things and praying and meditating, but from a different place.
Yeah.
My praying and meditating used to come from a different place. It was like the result was going to come from somewhere outside of me, like you just said.
Right.
I had to pray.
It's the same thing that our country does.
Right.
You know, they wanted Bush to save us. They wanted Clinton. They wanted Reagan. They want, you know, he who shall not be named to save us. Like, it's like not their, it's our responsibility.
Right.
You know, we keep, you know, thinking, okay, our economy is going to prosper because we've got a businessman in the Oval Office. And it's like, you know, yeah, not so much. It's like, yeah, maybe the economy looks a certain way at a certain time and stuff like that. But it's like, we're here to save ourselves. We're here to help one another. We're here to up level. It's like, we can't rely on, it's like I keep saying these memes on Facebook. It's not the politicians or the big corporations that are doing the work to save people and to bring food to people and to be of service to people. It's the nurses, it's the healthcare workers, it's the people that are still in the grocery stores stocking the shelves, it's the people that are driving the trucks to get the stuff. It's the people that you don't want to pay $15 minimum wage to that are really kind of saving our asses right now. And it's like, that's the truth.
Right.
You know, and it's like all these big corporations, the Walmarts and stuff like that. It's like, to think that someone's working at 40 hours a week at a Walmart, working 40 hours a week, and they have to be on assistance for food stamps or something because they can't afford to feed their family. And that's like one of the, you know, multi-billion-dollar business
Mm.
that their profits are in the billions of dollars. It's like, there's something not right about that.
Yeah. I agree. And I fight not getting angry. I mean, I get so angry at all that stuff, and I've had to stop watching the news
Yeah.
feed because there's so much that makes me angry. You know,
Yeah.
things are being pointed out for a good thing, but I just can't read them anymore because I end up getting so angry. And this is I don't want to take up too much more time, but this is one thing that made me really angry. So my mother died, and I posted something on Facebook about this, and my mother died I guess it's like 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and I didn't go because there were some people that were concerned, you know, about the coronavirus, and nobody in Nebraska had it, and you know, California at that time, California and New York were the only places, and you know, maybe they shouldn't let people from those two states into the state, and
Mhm.
you know, and there was genuine concern, but at the time I was a little like, okay, look, I'll wear masks, I'll protect myself, but it's my mother whose funeral I want to go to. I ended up not going, and I got a little chip on my shoulder about the folks in Nebraska. But here's the thing: is they still don't have any shelter in place kind of thing, and the governor's talking about opening up one of the biggest shopping centers in the Midwest to, you know, reopen in the next week or so, and and all of a sudden this slow moving coronavirus train is rolling through the state, and as it hits, they're going to get they're going to get hammered because any of those small towns and they're still acting as if, well, it's not us, it's not really here,
Right.
it's out there, but it's coming. And
Right.
then in Sioux City, they had to close down a couple of the largest meat packing plants in the country because most of the people have coronavirus.
Yeah.
It's coming. They can't avoid it. And it's going to be a slow moving train. And all of a sudden, they're going to say, what the hell? I mean, it is the equalizer, you know?
Yeah, yeah, There, it's got no gender, it's got no sexual preference, it's got no, per capita, their, financial status or anything like that. If it hits you, it's like that. It's like, on a lot of levels, there's no. I mean, there's certainly people that are homeless that have no support, whatever,
Right.
that get it. They may or may not die. Not everybody that gets it's going to die,
Yeah.
but I'm holding for all those people because it's, there's so much to be learned
Yeah.
in this process that we're in right now. There's so much to be learned,
And
and it's a bigger gift than we're giving credit for. There's on so many levels, on political levels, on social levels, spiritual levels, physical levels, emotional levels. There's a lot of gifts to be had.
right. And just to put a cap on that, and from my thing is, you, it makes me angry at the government because the government is kind of failing, and it is the people. It's just basic people that are are actually doing the work in spite of the government. There are a few governors and local people that are doing it, but it's bringing, those of us who are all here, somebody's doing something on a local level to get through it. But what I'm thinking of, based on everything we just talked and your website, I finally got it straight, jamielula.com.
JAMILULA.com. Yeah.
JAMILULA. Okay, I got it right. I had to re-edit it a few times because it has this sort of spell correct.
Oh yeah.
But are you going to be doing some more live streaming kind of concert things?
Yeah.
And you'll do you have a regular time for them, or will you post them on your?
I don't have a regular time for them at this point. I'd like to find something more regular, but I don't at this moment.
Mhm.
I can be found on Facebook. I got, that's most likely where I'm going to be doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for those who might have tuned in or tune in and want to know about, would you mind um, closing us up with one of your give us a demonstration of a prayer song you would do with somebody? Would that be all right with you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mother, Father, God, Infinite Spirit. Oh, I'm grateful. I'm so thankful. Grateful to know that right where I am, you are. And right where each individual is, you are. One with the divine, we all are. So I know this day is a blessing. I know this day I'm blessed. I know that my life is the answer that I've been putting to the test. So I give thanks for this manifestation. I give thanks for the praise from above. I give thanks for the love I'm sharing. And I give thanks for the love. Oh, I bless all the people. I know there's a healing going on. I know there's a healing going on. And I give thanks. I know it's good. I release it and let it be, let it be, let it be. And so it is. Amen. 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 Woo!
Oh, that was great. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you
Thank
for
you,
spending
brother.
an hour with me, and I appreciate you and love you, and am honored that you gave me an hour of your day.
Thank you, brother. I love you. Love to your family.
Thank you.
Be good to yourself. You're prosperous. You're exceeding beyond your possible your any probabilities or possibilities. It's a flow, and you are thriving, Jeff. You are bringing and you're raising the vibration. It's coming back to you, brother. Hold that. Know that. I know it for you. I love you.
Thank you.
Peace and blessings.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I wish you strength. I wish you courage. Wish you love, 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 love. I wish you purpose to create all your dreams and co-conspire with the light of your life. Love is my choice. Love is my